All right, guys, this is Mr. Miles. I'm going to give you a quick overview of your project for this week. Okay. And so it's a real simple one. Basically, I gave you the choice of doing one or two projects, um, depending on which one you would rather do. And I can show you some examples of previous years for each one of these. Um, so basically, option one, rewrite Ragnarok. So Ragnarok is a very dramatic, very cool, very epic conclusion to kind of Norse mythology. But obviously, it's kind of a downer because most everybody dies in Ragnarok. So this is your chance to rewrite it. Okay, so basically, you can rewrite it and have it where the gods win, they defeat all the bad guys. You can have it where the bad guys defeat all the gods and they don't die in the process like they do in the real thing. And so it's like a world run by all of Loki's kids, like the Jormungandr, Midgard Serpent, Surtur, Hel, Fenrir. Like they're all running the show. What would that look like? You can be as creative as you want. So if you wanted to rewrite Ragnarok to where the world ends and then all the new world is just a bunch of SpongeBob characters, you might joke, but that actually is something that got turned into me last year, as well as I think My Little Pony as well. Actually, I think I have that somewhere. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Yes. So here is the visual aid for the person who did the My Little Pony Ragnarok last year. So again, this shows you that you can be as creative as you want it to be. This one, this person was a little more stuck to the myth. His version of Ragnarok. This is Tyr, who, if you remember from last week, gave up his sword so that he could marry Gerd, the ice giant. So in this version, Tyr has his magical sword, which allows him to fight Surtur, the fire giant, and win, which in the actual myth, he does not have the sword, so he does not win. And so rewriting Ragnarok can be cool. Like, what's your kind of alternate version of the story? Okay, so what do you have to do? It needs to have a writing component and a visual component. Okay, so like visual component, something like this. You just give me an illustration of a scene or something like that from your story, or if you want to give me like a panoramic, like bird's eye view of the whole battle as it's happening. Or you could do a comic strip even. It doesn't have to be artistically beautiful. It could just be something that shows me a really cool representation of your story, of your alternate version of Ragnarok. And then obviously, so that I know what's going on, you're going to have to write about it. So a 400, 500 word retelling of your myth. And obviously I'll, be checking for spelling, grammar, things like that, just to make sure that it's legible and I can read it. Okay. And you can turn that into Google Classroom. Okay, so that's option one. The other option is you can interview an Einarjar. Okay, and for those of you who are wondering what an Einarjar is, on Monday you are reading about Valhalla, and the Einarjar are basically the spirits of the warriors who die in battle. Okay, who get to go to Valhalla, who get chosen by the Valkyries, who get to drink and wrestle and make merry for all eternity up until the day of Ragnarok. And so essentially, what you're going to do is you're basically going to conduct a job interview. Okay. Basically, what makes you qualified to be chosen by the Valkyries to go to Valhalla, right? And so you can have some fun with this. You can kind of, be like, so what makes you qualified to be chosen by the Valkyries? Because the Valkyries, another name that they're known by, is the choosers of the slain. Okay, not everybody who died in battle went to Valhalla. Some people who died in battle were chosen by Freya in her cat chariot to go with her to a place called Folkvanger, which we don't know much about. actually. But chances are it probably was not as cool as Valhalla was. So um, I really want you to be, have some fun with it, basically conduct a job interview, like what makes this warrior qualified to come to Valhalla, right? Same thing as before, it'll have a writing component and a visual component. So the writing component, again, 400, 500 words, not super long, and just basically a transcript of the interview that you're doing. And then the visual component, you're going to record it. So I'll post a link in Google Classroom to Flipgrid. And if you've never used Flipgrid before, it's super easy. You just press the record button, you use the webcam on your computer, and you can record it that way. You don't have to use Flipgrid by any means. You can use your phone if you want to record the interview that way as well. That's totally cool. It's just another option for you to use. So please don't feel free or don't feel obligated to have to use Flipgrid. It's just another resource for you to use if you want to use it. But it has to be recorded. Okay. So give me a transcript of the interview. So a written down version. Okay. And then the visual component. Okay. Obviously, for the written component, you're still going to check spelling, grammar, all that stuff. And for the visual component, try to make it about, 4 to 5 minutes, tops. Doesn't have to be super long. Just a couple minutes interviewing this person, 4 to 5 minutes of, job interview. What makes you qualified to join Valhalla? All right, basically. So that's it. So you pick one of these two projects and you do it. The rubric's down here in terms of what I'm looking for. And that's it. So if you have any questions, let me know. Shoot me a reminder and I'll be happy to go in more detail.